Namaste to you all, my love and blessings. We start today. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te Yathagner Dahika Shakti Ramakrishne Stita Swarupam Tam Sharadam Pranamamyaham Namah Shri Atirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Yes, world is moving in its own direction as per the divine will. And we have to do our part. Each one of us have been endowed with certain powers, certain freedom, certain instruments like intellect to use and live in this world. And we have to utilize all these and fulfill the purpose of human life for which we have come. And one thing we have to remember is world is not made for us. We are made for the world. If world was made for us, it would have simply obeyed whatever we say. I can't dictate, I cannot expect, I cannot demand anything from this world. Only right I have is to serve without any expectations or demands. So, whatever we have to do as a offering to the divine and fulfill the purpose for which I have been brought by the nature and God into this Prakriti. We are going to be here for a short time. We have to go back. So we have to fulfill all our duties that we have taken on our shoulders without shirking of the responsibilities, and then fulfill the purpose for which we have come. So be up and doing without rest, without time wasting, and fulfill all things. By the time you reach the old age, you must have finished great part of your sadhana. Last finishing touches you can finish and go. But in the early life, if you begin, by the time the evening falls, you would have finished like ancient rishis of our Indian soil. We would have finished. So, one biggest responsibility on your shoulder is to show proper path to the youngsters. Because most of us, we have finished much part of our life. At least let them not waste their precious time in their life in search of some small joys of the world here and there. Like beggar, let them not move about in this world. Let them be emperors and kings, their own. And they have to make themselves. Each man has to build up his own personality, life. Nobody can do it. Just like nobody can take food for my sake. I have to take. They can prepare and give, but eating must be done by me to appease my hunger. Anybody sitting will not appease my hunger. So, this sadhana part we have to do. So, see that the next generation picks up whatever, whomever you see youngsters, love them, give them support. Not that they will change because they are the momentum is flowing from thousands of lives they have been living in the world. Whatever you do, but somewhere that seed you are going to implant will germinate sometime. If not in this life, after a few lives, you will see that it is germinating. Okay, we will start with the Sharda Kavacham. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Atha Shri Sharada Kavacham पारमार्थस्य प्राप्त्यर्थं देहमर्पितमस्तु मे ज्ञानवैराग्यसिद्ध्यर्थं भिक्षां याचे च शारदे। ॐ सर्वशक्त्यात्मिकायै श्री शारदा देव्यै नमः। ॐ पुनातु नः शारदा देवी पुनातु परमेश्वरी चरणं पवित्रं विततं पुराणय्येन पूतस्तरति दुष्कृतानि तेन पवित्रेण शुद्धेन पूता अतिपाप्मानमरातिन्तरेम। शरीरं कृणुहि यज्ञशमलन्नो भयं कृणुहि विश्वतः। शारदा पुरस्तात् शारदा पश्चात्तात् शारदोत्तरात्तात् शारदाधरात्तात् शारदा नः सुवतु सर्वथा आतिगं शारदा नो रासतां सारोग्य दीर्घमायुः। सर्वतो देवि त्वन्नः पाहि पाहि समन्तात्। यतः सर्वमिदं जातं येन सर्वमिदं ततं। यदेकमव्यक्तमनन्तरूपं विश्वं पुराणं तमसः परस्तात्। यज्जन्तोर्निहितं गुहायां तद्दर्शयाभयं प्रदेहि। ॐ तत्सत्स्वरूपिण्यै च विद्महे शारदा देव्यै च धीमहि तन्नश्चिन्मयी प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ। So last time, in the last class, of course, we had the Vachaspati Mishra's life. It was very inspiring because these are the something early in my life when I joined the mutt. I heard these things and they created a great jolt on my soul that something has to be done. One thing is his unselfish love and compassion and dedication for the welfare of the others, and then the total dedication to Guru's feet to acquire all knowledge as much as possible, being an insider of each of the path, to imbibe everything. See, we are prejudiced always to see everything in a too much of scientific way. with that faith and devotion with which we have to, everything, whatever he took in his life, be it any philosophy or anything, with great honor, adoration. He adored everything before he could touch it. How many ways of path to God, how many philosophies we have. As we go, we see the treasure of Indian wealth, of spiritual wealth and philosophical wealth. So, yeah, that is what we have to imbibe in our life, to be open. Ano Bhadra. All the knowledge from every corner, let it flow into me. I am open. Receptivity. One thing we have to cultivate and develop is receptivity. I want to receive. I want to give. Wherever you go. And analyze everything. God has given the intellect. We use it in the world for so many things. In arguments, this, that and all. Same thing, you analyze properly everything of the spiritual and this one. Digest it. Just Bhagavad Gita is sufficient. What all I am going to tell, all these are in a clear way Krishna has presented. Whole of what is human life, what is Jiva, what is Jagat and what is Ishvara. Where we have to come, what is the purpose of human life, where we have to go, everything. But we must have time to discuss each one. A few times if you go through the Bhagavad Gita, then we can sometime take up the Bhagavad Gita and see how to open it and see the inner wealth. It is like a pearl covered by shell. You can't see anything. If you open the shell, then you'll see the pearl inside. So that wealth you must get the key to open the scriptures. But little spiritual practices, if you combine, then you will get the power to enter into and understand. You have to read between the lines to understand the scriptures. It will be little difficult. Means suddenly we will not know the meaning at all. Direct meaning we will read and go. Suppose any Upanishad or anything, how to enter into it and analyze and see, we will not know. There is one story. Time goes off if I take up story. So what is scriptures? How to understand it? There was a diamond merchant. He was a means who nobody could compete him in dealings with the diamonds. Everybody used to rush to him, and he succeeded in his business. Though he started in a humble way, in his own way, he conquered the whole market. He had 4 children. All children, because of when wealth is there, they will not know the value because it is earned by someone else. They were in their own enjoyment. Father is earning these. They have got married, but no responsibility. So father used to worry, after my going, all these competitors will just push down my 4 children because they are all waiting. He is becoming old. So it is a cutthroat competition, you see, because of his goodwill that he has earned. He was succeeding all the time. He had made sufficient wealth also, but the enjoyment, when children go towards enjoyment, any amount of wealth will go away. So what happened? The father was almost nearing the death. So he wrote in his will, I have kept 4 crores worth of diamond to be taken in the emergency only. if nothing, because he knew one day this one will fall down, business will fall down, and they will not have any. So there was in front of their house, there was a small Ganesha temple. So Ganesha temple, in the top, that Kalasha will be there, you see. In that Kalasha, I have kept, in the will he writes, in the Kalasha, I have kept 4 crores worth diamond. All children must take it together and distribute and use it for their business in case of emergency. So they were, after father's going, by the time the competitors are waiting, after father's going, suddenly it started falling. Within a year, they saw they are not able to compete with the market others. Then slowly business started dwindling down. Then a day came, they were not able to manage themselves. So they thought they have to take out this wealth from that. And father had written in that, you have to take it on Sharat Purnima day. Sharat Purnima day at 12 o'clock. So Sharat Purnima day at 12 o'clock. Why? The emergency was there even earlier. They were very intelligent people. So one of them told, see, Sharat Purnima is very clear night. So if diamond or anything taking out, we will be having that light. We need not take artificial light. And then if anything falls, this, that and all, we will be knowing. So father has told to take it on the Purnima day, Sharat Purnima day, because it is free from clouds. Then the one brother says, Purnima is coming. One Purnima earlier we will take it out. All decided, yes, we will go. Then they climbed up and opened that and saw nothing is there inside. They were disappointed. But each started doubting the other also. They did not know what has happened. And how could it be missing? Father's words, father has never told a lie. It must be there. Then in the will it is only written on the top of the Ganesha temple. In the Kalasha, I have kept this much. And you will find it on the Purnima day, Sharat Purnima day at night 12 o'clock. You can take it out. So the one of them was going to one Swamiji, usually for one nearby, one ashrama was there. He used to go meet and contact and come. So this time when he goes, the Swami knew their business is dwindling down, they are finding it difficult for their survival and all. When he came, he was completely upset. Then he asked, Swamiji asked, what is this? You are in low spirits, what happened? Then he tells the whole story. Like this happened, we were hoping, we don't know how it is missing, or my father has told some other understanding we have got, or we don't know. Then Swamiji asked, you bring that will, I will see. So he brought the will, he read, and then he said, Purnima is about to come. I will come on that day. I will try to get it. Then he said, we have seen through and through. We have taken out the Kalasha below and seen. What more you can do? He said, take me, I will show you. He could understand the meaning of that writing. Because it is in secret way, because if the will is available to anybody can take it out. Father is written in such a way that the Swami could understand the moment he said, you take me on that day to your. Then they took him, the evening he went to their house, had their night meals there, had bhajans, singing this, that and all. After that, when the time was coming, he said, come out. They all went out. And when it was time, they saw, he told, where is the Kalasha now? They all showed Kalasha. Do you find any other Kalasha? He said, no. Then he said, see, the moon is full moon. It is clear and bright. Brightest moon is Sharad Purnima moon. So, see, you find another Kalasha somewhere. He has written, you will find a Kalasha on the top of Ganesha. He did not say there is Ganesha temple top Kalasha. You will find a Kalasha, he is told. Find a Kalasha means where? Its Kalasha is already there. There is nothing to find it. So when he says find, it must be somewhere else also, a Kalasha. Find out, find out. They could not understand. Then he showed the shadow of in moonlight, the whole temple is having shadow on the ground. And where the Kalasha also is there in the ground, its shadow. He asked, dig here. They start digging and they get what father had kept. 4 crores worth. Means the in between lines to read, to understand scriptures. It will be like this. In scriptures, something will be given and we understand direct meaning. One word will be changing the whole. That is the secret. That is the key. You must know how to open the scriptures and get the inner meaning. What does it signify? What does it mean? So Bhagavad Gita reading, a few readings you will go with the direct meanings. Whatever we can understand according to our standard of understanding. As you start doing spiritual practices, you enter into spiritual life, love all people, seek everybody's welfare. The first condition is, do you seek the welfare of others? The moment you seek the welfare of others, then an intuitive power comes within you that understandings become clear. Second thing is, till then, only thing that can save us is humility and surrender to the divine. How many saints have been telling us, how many scriptures are telling us, my child, walk in this way, walk in this way. But we can't. The old tendencies are driving us. So somewhere we have to have some amount of sanyama, self-control, understand, see the suffering of the people around and guide them, give them opportunity, place. So when you start giving this one, when humility comes, you start gaining. When compassion comes for others, you start inner blooming will start taking place, and from unknown source, constant feeding will be there. What you have to do, how you have to do, what things. Because 200 years after, what you are doing and living and going might be helpful for some people who are going to come after 200 years. We don't know. It may inspire. One old temple, some person going, he might find great inspiration or may get a vision of God also. We don't know. So for his sake, temple was built by a king so many years back. My devotee is going to come there. So much of arrangements will be there in the nature. So whatever you give to the world will remain there with love and affection. Whatever you give, it will remain there in the world. So this is what we see so when we study scriptures, we have to go through intuitive understanding rather than direct understanding. Intuitive understanding comes when you become pacify mind, let it become tranquil, no waves, no dirt. Then you will enter the inner cell of your being. As you read outside, you are inside yourself. In that region, your inner region, you will understand the meaning becomes clear, not in the brain. It becomes clear in your heart. Heart speaks there. Brain doesn't speak. Till then, brain starts speaking. When mind becomes calm and tranquil, and the inner opening is there, from inner opening, the right meaning comes from there. Mind and intellect will catch it. It will catch from the heart. Otherwise, reading will go inside the brain only. Now, heart understands, heart speaks. This is what we need now. So, all this what I am going to tell you, the whole thing is simple things. What we are going to study now is who am I, what is Jiva, what is Jagat, and what is Ishvara. As long as you are body, you say I am body, I am body. Waking till you sleep, you will be body. Till then, you will have these three entities, ultimate entities, Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. As you grow, you will see they are merging in one. Oh, they were never two, three. It is one. The moment you go to the cosmic level of understanding, you will see all the three are dissolved into each other and one homogeneous understanding is there. So, we will go back to our subject where we have left. In the class before we studied that time is circular and not linear as Westerners have the understanding. So, because we are seeing a small part, it looks like the linear, otherwise it is circular. Then we saw the whole creation going back, becoming energy and dissolving in the absolute, just like we sleep and dissolve in the universal consciousness. The universal consciousness with the universe converting into energy in the absolute, it dissolves. When everything dissolves, only Satchidananda Sagara is there. Existence, consciousness, bliss absolute. Satchidananda alone. The bliss, ocean of bliss alone is there. Without an experiencer and experience, Triputi is not there. The knower, known object and knowing, three things will be there. Meditator, on which the meditated upon, and the meditation, the process, three will be there always. Now, seer and seen will dissolve. Sight also will dissolve. In the absolute, there is no triputi. In English, we call it a triad. So, there is no triad. There is one existence. Seer and seen, experience and experience, loved and lover is not there. Without loved and lover, love alone is there. So, bliss alone is there. It is the ocean of bliss. So, this bliss absolute, when everything is dissolved, the previous cycle and all knowledge of creation, everything is there in the form of jnana, in the one of the Shaktis. Kriya Shakti, Icha Shakti will dissolve. Consciousness has three powers, Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti and Jnana Shakti. In Jnana Shakti, it will remain as pure knowledge. And now, when I sleep, when you sleep, the time, your time, individual time dissolves. In your deep sleep, when you are not aware of time or space. Space and time is not there for you when you sleep. When you get up again, it starts. What happened to your time? Your individual time is dissolved in Ishvara. You are one with Ishvara. Ishvara's time is going on. Cosmic time is going on. All are experiencing outside. You alone are sleeping. For you alone, time is not there. In dream also there is time. But it is a different time. Not connected with this time. It has its own laws and its own time. And how you miss time, but the cosmic time continues. It's like that, when cosmos dissolves, cosmic time dissolves. and there will be great time. It is called Mahakala. Mahakala and Mahakali. When we say Mahakali, oh, destructive part, oh, Baba, the tongue outside and all, Kali we will think of. No, it is from the term Kala. Kala means time. Mahakala, great time. When everything dissolves, great time. Time as consciousness. Remember, time as consciousness. It is in the Chaitanya, in the consciousness. Chaitanya, in Chaitanya, the time is as Chaitanya. Very difficult to understand, but as much as possible you understand. In mind, as mind. You want to build a house? The house is there in your mind as mind now. When you build, it will come out. Like that, the time is there in consciousness as consciousness. It is Brahman alone existing. The time, great time also is there. This time is with the Saraswati again, Mahakala. You see, Mahakali, when the everything is, when the time of rest of the universe is over, dissolved state is over, it is about to come out. The Mahakala and Mahakali are there. The great time and his power are there. What we call Mahakali, we must understand the term how we are using, how the Indian sages use the term from Kala, the great time. The great time is going to be there. Mahakala and Mahakali. When it is dynamic, we call it Mahakali. When it is static, we call it Mahakali. Static and dynamic aspect of the same reality. When you are sitting without movement, you are Shiva. When you start moving about, you are Shakti. So when you are not dynamic, then you are Shiva. When you are dynamic, you are Shakti. So Mahakala and Mahakali are one and the same. Like wood. Wood, there is fire, it is not burning. It is not kindled, it is not burning. So it is Shiva. Once you rub each other and it catches fire and it starts burning, then it has become Shakti. It is power now. Motorcycle standing is Shiva. Motorcycle on run is Shakti. So the Mahakala and Mahakali, when we use the terms, you must clearly understand. Immediately you must understand, oh, it is dynamic state. It is potential states, kinetic and this one. Like that you must understand immediately. So when the time of rest is over, the pulsation starts. Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti is going to awaken the Kriya Shakti. Kriya Shakti, the pulsation, throbbing starts in a point. And now that the waves of love, the ripples of love start moving from all directions. We heard, no? This state is called Chidanandamayi. The first one is Satchidanandamayi. She is one with the ocean of Satchidananda. She has become dissolved in the Satchidananda. So Satchidanandamayi, how is mother? It is one with the consciousness. How is your powers? It is dissolved in you when you sleep. Like that she is dissolved. Satchidanandamayi. Then when she becomes, she is conscious. It is pulsating. It is throbbing. It is as wave of love, ripples of love, it is moving. So when motion starts, she is consciously moving. Chit is their consciousness. So Chidanandamayi, Ananda is there, Chit and Ananda. Then the bliss and love is the content which will bring about the motherhood in her. The content of the love, waves, ripples of love is Ananda, bliss. Love wave in the Ananda. Love and Ananda creates the motherhood. Motherhood when it comes. Now, Anand, I have to become many. When she thinks I have to become many, then the Ananda is decreasing, you see. Now, Sat is there, Chit is there, Ananda has decreased. Satchidanandamai, out of that, we will have Satchit Swarupini. The mother is then called Sat, existence is there, Chit, she is conscious, but Ananda has decreased. Because she wants to become money. One desire will bring down the Ananda, even in Divine Mother. So, Satchit Swarupini, she becomes Satchit Swarupini. I will send the diagram, I will make a table and send, you will be able to clearly understand. Next class we will see that. Then, I will become many. When it becomes clear to her, she is now full of power. She is called Adi Parashakti, the primordial energy. She is from where the universe is going to shoot up now. So, she is called Adi Parashakti. Para means the supreme, beyond. Adi is beginning. It is a first beginning is coming. I will become many. So, she is called Adi Parashakti. Then, as the Sattva Rajatama, the Chaitanya aspect will carry omnipresence, omniscience, and omnipotence. Chaitanya has got Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. Here, Sattva Rajatama, Prakriti is going to become movement. Rajas, the Jnana, the universe, I have to have the knowledge. Knowledge system is there, cognition is there, jivas, and then movement is there, inert. So she gets converted into Sattva, Raja, Tama, Trigunamai. She becomes the three gunas and now she is called Mula Prakriti. She is Mula Prakriti because creation has not yet begun. She is now Mula Prakriti. And then she condenses into a Bindu. Then she is called Bindu Vasini. She is going to live in the Bindu. Now the Chaitanya, she starts spinning and drags the Chaitanya with her, and then she becomes expanded from within, because base is necessary whatever you do. So that base is the Chaitanya in which she is going to expand, she is going to show many things, how one is going to become many. So Bindu Vasini, when she is Bindu Vasini, she has become Chaitanyamai, Chinmai. Chinmai means Chaitanyamai. Chaitanyamai we call there because she has imbibed the Chaitanya. She is holding the Chaitanya. She has imbibed. She has become one with the Chaitanya. Because she has to expand now. She was one with the Chaitanya, but when she becomes one with the Chaitanya, when the universe dissolves, she also dissolves. Now she is having independent awareness, self-awareness with the Chaitanya. When I sleep, I become one with the Chaitanya, but I lose myself. Here she doesn't lose herself, but is one with the Chaitanya. Like as if you are in deep sleep and you are in waking also. Do you understand the difference? That is, she is having her independent existence without dissolving in Chaitanya. She is one with Chaitanya now. That can create the universe without being dissolving in the Chaitanya. As you go towards Chaitanya, you start dissolving. Anything, any duality, if it starts going near Chaitanya, it dissolves. But here, the Divine Mother is keeping her individuality. Just like, suppose God blessing you, you will be able to enter the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Then you will be like a salt doll entering the ocean. As you are oceaning, you are getting dissolved, dissolved, dissolved. You start dissolving and becoming the ocean. How it will be, you see. To retain the last wedge of understanding. Oh, I am dissolving. This is the Ananda Sachidananda Sagara. That understanding is there, you see. You are having a little of that I to experience that. She is having complete I and experiencing that. Thakur says, Shukadeva went up to the edge of the Sachidananda Sagara, tasted it and came. One went, one could see from far off, one could see, one could touch it, but whoever tried to enter into it, they started dissolving. But by grace of Mother, I was made a stone doll instead of a salt doll. I could move about freely and enjoy the bliss of the. So, this state Mother is having now. That she is now called Chinmayi. How many songs are there, Chinmayi word? That we don't understand what the sages mean by those words. Now you will start understanding. Chinmayi means what it means in the song. So she is having self-conscious and all powers with her to become the universe, and she is holding that Chaitanya to become the base of her and give existence to what all she is going to become. Now the next stage of the Aparana is she is going to expand within herself, because there cannot be space or time, anything in the absolute. So she herself expands from within herself. Now the whole universe is egg, Brahmanda. It's called Brahmanda. The whole thing is within her. So whole universe, what you see is Divine Mother in that form of the universe. I, you, all this around your laptop also. Everything is Divine Mother. And our Mr. Corona also is in Divine Mother. See why the ancient sages were worshipping whatever the trees, river, sunshine, whatever, everything is worshipable. Whatever you see, penetrate into it, you will reach the same reality. We must know how to penetrate, how to see a thing. From childhood, we must have been made to see the divine everywhere. We were made how to live in this world, to earn and live as bodies. But we were never taught how to see the divine outside, and how to. The lesson must begin from the infancy. My child, look at like Madalasa. Next class, Madalasa, I will tell you how she brought up her children. Each one child she used to, while putting in jhula and swinging, she used to tell the Nityosi, Buddhosi, Niranjanosi. Why are you weeping, my child? You are Purna. You don't lack anything. You are Ananda Swarupa. Why are you weeping like this? She was turning the children understanding towards the inner indwelling spirit. The bodily cover you have put and you are weeping. What is this? So, this Prakriti, she expands from. Now, first thing what happens is, it is called Aparanada. Paranada we saw. After the Bindu, she becomes Aparanada. With space as the base, she is expanding inside. Now, Trigunas become imbalanced. As long as the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tama is in equilibrium, there won't be any creation. The sattva, rajas, tama becomes, loses their equilibrium and the creation begins. The sattva aspect is blowing up, the rajas blowing up, tamas is blowing up. This creation is tama pradhana. Gross material object is more than the mind which understands, senses that perceive, intellect that reasons. These are our subtle aspect of the creation. These are gross aspects of creation, including our physical body, intellect, mind, and all subtle creation. See, this is tama pradhana, very solid like material. Gross material is more than the light that we get of understanding and all that. So this becomes tama pradhana. The tamas is more, rajas is the second, sattva is very little to have understanding and all. So here, as we spread, the mother spreads, she is now called Trigunamayi. Trigunamayi. She is now the gunas are prakata in her. She herself becomes the gunas. The movement has started, the material has started coming, the understandings that jivas are going to hold on to pancha jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, buddhi manas, and all are developing in her. The Chaturvimshati tattvas, 24 cosmic principles are going to. So now the important part begins from here till the end, total end. The one common name is given from Srishti beginning to the completion of the universe. She is called Lalita. Lalita, we do the Lalita Sahasranama and all. Lalita means a playful girl. Playful girl. Small girl playing, dancing, jumping and moving about. That girl is called Lalita. Lalita is a playful girl. Now, when the creation starts, the whole of creative process is like the dancing of a small girl out of her own joy. One after the Akasha, Akasha, Vayu, Vayu, Agni, Agni, Rapa, Advya, Prithivi, Prithivya, one by one is flowing down. The creation is flowing down, expanding. In various patterns are going to come up. Various varieties. So many things are, multifarious world is going to be created. Yes, 14 planes of existence. What could be the higher planes of existence? Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, Maha, Jana, Tapa, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Patala, all these lower and higher joys and light, how it could be. This aspect of mother, in dance there are two aspects. One is male dance and female dance. Female dance is called Lasya and the male dance is called Tandava. Return, collapsing back, retracting universe, going back is like Tandava. But when it is creation comes, it is like you can see how beautiful is the child growing in the womb. After coming out of the child, from child, how beautifully it unfolds. You look at the old age, how old lady starts collapsing. The Tandava is going on here, Lasya is going on. So the creative process also. The rivers, Ganga and Yamuna, you must see the difference. Yamuna, Julu 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 is small, like girl she is going. Ganga is like a big Amma, woman, flowing. The difference is there. So this is Lalita aspect is from the creation, beginning of the creation, the Divine Mother is taking, she herself is getting transmuted into various things. If she herself is becoming torn into pieces, color things, varieties of things, varieties of patterns are coming out from, she is making of herself. So this aspect of her whole beginning of the creation from the Binduvasini up to the complete Jagadhatri, the whole universe is, she is holding now. That last aspect is called Jagadhatri. So Jagadhatri, from the Binduvasini to Jagadhatri state, the whole thing is called Lalita. So this is what is the conceptions and visualizations you see? What are the experience they must have had, rishis, sages, one by one. This kind of things you will not see anywhere in this world. These understandings that rishis have given us and gone, every bit, everything, walk, speech, how it comes. Para Pashyanti Madhyama Vaikari. The stage of evolution of the walk from the consciousness to oral sound. Every bit, to see everything divine. To see, we have lost these eyes to see things in their right perspective. Everything is colored by our vasanas, the old tendencies we have created. So the mind, important thing is mind. Whole of your life's achievements, the victory in your life or defeat, depends upon your mind. The mind is to be trained. It has to be made. From childhood it should begin, but now there is no time. We have to simply pacify, attain tranquility, enter the inner world. The child, when it is born, mind comes into picture. Till then, mind is a blank. If she is not able to perceive anything because there is no feeding inside, antenna is not there. When child is born, eyes, ears, the five senses are the antenna that receives from the world. Immediately mind comes into active state. It is there in passive, inactive state of dormancy. It comes to active state. Mind comes into active state. The moment the child is born, it starts weeping. From that moment, it has begun. Mind has started. It starts gaining momentum, starts gathering. Within a year, you see it has already acquired raga dvesha, likes and dislikes. Likes and dislikes mostly of the taste it begins with. Then it expands to situation. 2-year child or 3-year child, you see it has extended to situations. From situation it will extend to people, liking and disliking. Then to ideas. Anybody telling anything in the middle school, high school and all, you see ideas. Then objects and objectives. It starts likes and dislikes. Is filled with likes and dislikes. Because parents did not show divine to see divine everywhere, to see divine within, to see divine outside. He is a mass of raga dvesha now. To remove this raga dvesha is so difficult. So this mind is to be, now only thing we at our stage we can do is pacify the mind. Give right understanding as much as possible. Try to change the inner tendencies as much as possible. Try to destroy the wrong understanding. This mind had colored this world and shown. Same mind will start, if you leave now, it will start tossing you from within. When it starts tossing you from within, frustration, despondency, depression, tension, all these mental begins, ailments begin, because same mind which has colored and shown this world to be something else will start working within you. So now the only thing is, instead of going into the external world, try to go into the inner world. We are blessed as Indians, we are blessed with the introversion. We are introverts. In the whole world, Indians are introverts. All others are extroverts. They are going outward. Tendency is to go outward. Our tendency is to go inward. We are already blessed with that nature to understand the inner things of the things, inner things of our own. Okay, we will stop here. What is the difference between understanding by heart and understanding by brain? Yes. See, when we are in tune with nature, when I am trying to understand a thing, I am always in tune with the what is contained inside me from childhood, what information I have received, what knowledge I have created in me, what along with the ragadveshas, the likes and dislikes, all this, my personality is looking at a thing. Now, this understanding is brain understanding of a thing. It depends upon my personal knowledge and understanding. Along with is my tendencies coloring the object. Now, I don't see in that way. I dissolve my personality. I become in tune with the nature. How do I become tuned with the nature? I seek the welfare of everything. I want the plants to grow. I want the animals to grow. I want the stars to shine at the night. I am one with the nature. I am seeking welfare of all. I want everything to see good and nice. So I am in tune. Similarly, I am conscious of the divine which pervades and gives existence to this world, who is ruling this world. So that power also I am understanding and accepting. Then I am in tune with the divine. When I am in tune with the divine and nature, the understanding comes from the heart, not from the brain. This is the main difference. I am not there. Nature is guiding me. My vasanas are not there to color it. It is revealing its real nature to me. Then it is heart understanding. Okay? Anything else? What is the significance and benefits of river parikrama like Narmada parikrama? One thing is, in ancient times, the places of pilgrimage, one thing it gave is to cultivate devotion. One is the hardship that you undergo. It's a kind of mortification of the body as tapas. I am going to do some tapas. Why tapas? Because to understand certain things, to get some benefits, I have to sacrifice something. कुछ पाना है तो कुछ खोना है. I have to give something to earn, to understand. Now I am going to give some energy, this one as tapas. When I make any kind of tapas, my mind, my intellect gets purified. How does it purify? My doing tapas. Tapas is one thing which trains the mind. It is like I am heating the iron to shape it. Shaping cannot be done unless I heat it. The heating is called tapa. Tapana. Heating. So this I am going to strain, give some this one to the bodily. Bodily mortification is to awaken the spirit. I want to suppress my bodily existence. No, I will do tapas. What tapas? I will eat little, just sufficient, not for enjoyment. Whatever my body needs, I give, I do the tapas. Whenever a desire comes, I don't attend to the desire. An alternative, which is desire, I want to eat masala dosa, I will eat ganji. It becomes tapas. I need it as food, but instead of gratifying the tongue, it becomes tapas. So through tapas, I will have self-control. I will develop a power that I can achieve anything. That power comes from tapas. What power comes? The tapo shakti is, what is that? That self-control. I have exercised everywhere. Yes, I can do. I can do. Now, I do every day. Here, one nearby hill is there. I climb and get up. I slowly develop the power that yes, I can climb the Everest one day. This self-confidence, this power also, I am able to, by practice I am able to withstand. And I am getting that Atma Bala instead of physical Bala. Now, with the physical Bala, I have the Atma Bala also. This is one thing. The third thing I am going to get through these things is rare things. I am going to a pilgrimage. If you go walk on the Narmada river, every place you will see varieties of temples. It has a story behind. To listen to that story, to understand that, to experience God is here in this form. See, for sake of one devotee had taken this, he had come here, and Vithoba, for sake of one devotee he comes and stays there. Oh, how compassionate is God. The various aspects of God we are going on experiencing. If you go round the Narmada, it is so beautiful. And nature's beauty as it is. You are one with the nature. Where there is no electricity. You have to pass through the living there where without electricity and all, without anything. You have to go to the river, bring the water, have the water, go somewhere, have bhiksha, collect some wood here, there, light it, cook your food, eat, and start walking again. What a beautiful life you see. To be one with nature. The rare opportunity we forget, and we are alone, independent of all other concerns and thoughts for some time. That is main thing of the pilgrimage. And then each place inspires you. Inspiration. You get inspired from within. Sri Ramakrishna says the purpose of going for pilgrimage is to cultivate love of God. If you don't cultivate the love of God, then you have lost the essence of the pilgrimage. This is the main thing that we are going to, in olden days, see from Kashi. They have to go to Kashi. First you have to go to Rameshwar, take sand from there and go to Kashi, put there and bring the Ganga water from there and offer it to Rameshwar, and then come to your home. Means you are going through the length and breadth of India once. You will know varieties of people, how people are living. Your understanding expands. Otherwise you will be in a small cell. Narmada Parikrama, if you go, how people love, how they sacrifice, what are the types of people they live there. To understand the intimately living 1 or 2 days in each place and going, you will see varieties of people, varieties of states of mind, their samskaras, their traditions. So many things you come across. So occultation, to understand each other, how they receive, they expect the same thing. Because we cannot go to Kashi in those days. You have to walk and go. Somebody will help you to go to some distance on a cart. It's a blessing. They will be waiting for such people who are going. You have to go. Atiti is treated as the God. You will receive the worshipful attitude. As soon as you go, they will see you filled with mud and all. They will wash your feet, take you inside, ask you to take bath. By the time they will prepare the food and keep. All these things you will experience. A new life as if. The better you go alone always. Or a person who matches with your nature. If you take otherwise, you will be miserable. Life will become miserable there. All right. Request to enlighten on free will, destiny and God's grace. Free will, destiny and God's grace. Man has been given free will, not total free will. Only this much of will that you can act. Till you act, you have the freedom. The moment you finish your act, you are under the control of the karma. This is the free will. You cannot exercise everything. But will can be extended to great extent. Develop the will. You can to certain extent. And you after that whatever you want to acquire is the siddhis, the powers, occult powers. Now there is a tree or there is an elephant or bird. By sight I want to kill it. These things are occult powers. I can will to see that the tree is burned. These are common occult powers. These powers we don't have. Means we don't have a small will to control not the nature. We have will not to control the situation, but to attend to the situations. Will to transform my life and grow. Will to do certain amount of freedom in karma. When my will is empowered by God, then it is different. That needs surrender. Otherwise, I have to merge my will in God's will. Whatever is your will, I accept. This my will merging in divine will, then we will see the divine grace is, I am availing the divine grace. Divine grace always, Sri Ramakrishna says, divine grace flows always like breeze. If you unfurl your mast, then your boat will start sailing. There is a cloth mast. You have to unfurl it. Then you are availing that breeze to go forward. Grace is equally flowing on all. But our ego resists that divine grace. Like an umbrella, I am going with an umbrella in rain. Rain is everywhere. But I am going with an umbrella. My ego resists because I am there, God's grace cannot work. Now I surrender my will, then God's grace start working. I don't will. I merge my will. Nanak says, Guru Nanak, again and again, merge your will in the divine will. And whenever you do anything, when you are able to calm down, first thing, anything thought comes, I have to build a house, I want to do that, I want to do this. Anything comes in your mind, sit quietly, calmly. Take some time, any day, when everything is peaceful, and sit, pacify your mind, attain tranquility. The moment you attain tranquility, you enter the inner space. inner region of your inner self. There you will know what you are expecting to have is good for you or not. Is it worthy of having or not? This is divine will. We will understand. Does it serve God's purpose? You are trying to do something, it may serve your purpose. Does it serve God's purpose? If it serves God's purpose, your will is merged in the divine will. Otherwise, you are serving your own purpose, not the God's purpose. This is destiny. When God gives grace, we avail by surrender and merging our will within the God's will. And destiny is not destination. Destiny and destination. Destiny is something where I am going to land temporarily. Destiny is going to take me. Destiny means actually my karmic load and nature's reply to that. I have done certain karmas, my karmic load, whichever is coming to maturity, it is going to happen. Now, if it is not protected or guarded by divine grace, divine protection, I know something bad is going to happen to me. Something harm is going to. Now I surrender to God. My destiny, according to my karma, I am going to be taken certain place. In Ramakrishna's life, you will see Mathur Babu commits a murder. And when he is put to verdict, he is to be first brought under jail. He comes and surrenders to Ramakrishna. Then Ramakrishna says, no, you have done whatever you have done, you have to suffer. Then his total unconditional surrender. Whatever you say, I will do. Save me from this. Then the surrender take, yes, you go. Nothing will happen. He gives the assurance. So this surrender, destiny he knows, he surrenders. He is protected from the destiny what is going to happen by the divine. Similarly, nature can protect, Guru can protect, and somebody's blessings. Unknown people. So many Rishi Munis have prayed for us. Your little karma which you have done, a small service to somebody somewhere, will come to protect you during that time. You unknowingly, you are going somewhere, a temple you see, just bow down and go. Without mind, without concentration. A temple, your mind just bows down. That will save you somewhere from great danger. That small bowing down unconsciously, not paying attention, still it protects you. So destiny is my karmic maturity to where I am going to be taken by the nature, independent of my participation, is destiny. I have done, I am destined to happen. But now I have a freedom to pray and surrender. So all the time if you hold on to God and walk, like children walking behind their mother holding her sari, then no bad things can befall you. If at all something happens which you don't like, God is showing something, some experience He is giving you which is most essential for your evolution. Accept it. Understand it. Why did you show this? Why did it happen? So this is the...
One last continuing question you told about pilgrimage, how it helps the soul austerity.
Will all these austerities help a soul to liberate, or will they help purify the soul See, liberation comes only through two means. One is jnana, one is bhakti. Ecstatic love of God, that I am able to forget myself, I am able to forget the world. That kind of love for God will liberate you, because it will totally destroy the body consciousness. I am body will go away. And another is jnana. Jnana agni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute Arjuna. The jnana, I am the Atman, I am not the body. That realization is necessary for liberation. In Bhakti Yoga, through the love of God, God's participation equally will be there along with you. In Jnanapatha, only Guru's push, backing, and your walking. So it is not like God also is walking towards you, and you are keeping one step towards God, and God is keeping 10 steps towards you. This is Bhakti Yoga. But Guru's all power to push thee to God is, Guru's power is there, but Shishya's inertia will be so big that it will not be able to finish the journey in 1 or 2 lives. But this can give instant liberation. Bhakti. Because God is going to walk towards you. He can walk at any speed which we cannot make up. Surrender, the total surrender, unconditional surrender to God can liberate you. By all these austerities, we are clearing the way between me and God. My understanding I am clearing of the various, so much of cleaning has to go on. So much of dross is there in us, it has to be chiseled out to see the inner metal. What is this? Dross has formed over it. We go on chiseling it. And finally we will get the metal. So all these help in removing the dross and inner purification also. Mind, senses, everything and knowledge grows. You expand, heart expands. If you go just, you are without any possession. I lived in this life without any possession any time. Even now, I don't keep anything as mine. So, you will see that God protecting you to every point. You will have tremendous faith in God. Unimaginable. I need not see, every door is open. Wherever I went, every door is open. Come. I don't have anything. I never carried even toothbrush and a shaving set. No, not even a soap. A plastic bag, carry bag, fallen in the street, I used to wash and carry water in it. But every door was open to me. I never had to sleep any day hungry stomach. Any door, Amma, if I say the door, please come. They will give me some food. Lovingly. So this, it will go on increasing your faith in God. Yes, God is there with me. God is there. The main thing you will find is closeness to God and understanding of the people. Your heart expands. Some places you'll see helpless people suffering without food, without clothes. I will tell one incident. One Swami came to where I was in the forest, Churna forest, in the Satpura range in south of the Narmada. One Swami came, he wanted to go through the inner route to one place. It is a hill top where they have to go. There is a old English people had done one road inside. That road is still there in very good condition. In British times it was done. And but one problem is at few places you have to go up by the vehicle. It needed 12 horses to pull the carriage. Now you have to, it is almost 45 degrees in few places. Short distances, about 200 meters or so, but vehicle cannot, unless you come with sufficient momentum, speed, you cannot cross. You have to start sliding down behind. So he wanted to go to that place to see one Shiva temple there, one famous Shiva temple. So he was passing through the forest. Then, now and then, to avoid the roundabout going, they come to through the forest. So one place, the two foresters were there with him to show to take them along the forest, the Swamiji, and two Adivasis who know the inner routes. The foresters also don't know. Adivasis know. So Adivasis were there, and the Adivasis there, they speak a language, Gond language, which the Hindi people do not know. So they took the two, totally five, this including Swamiji was going. They started drizzling. They saw around no place anywhere, but far off they saw one fire burning. Very rarely you will see in the forest anybody living. So Adivasis live somewhere unknown. A few, one family might be living in the 40-50 kilometers, another one might be living, that's all. So when they saw the fire, they thought somebody might be living there. So they walked and went and saw there one man is sleeping. It's a night, about 8:30 in the night. Fire is put, small drizzles are coming, and one man is sleeping, and one boy is sleeping by the side. Both are naked without clothes. And one hut they have made. They went, and the Gond Adivasi who was going with the heat was mediator. He told, allow the Swamiji to sleep inside the hut, we will sleep outside. We have to spend the night, tomorrow morning we'll go. One woman came out from inside and started saying, no, whoever it is, I will not allow anybody inside. Then everybody was surprised. She said, why? That another Adivasi asked. She said, I have a daughter grown up. She doesn't have clothes. We have one cloth. I have put on the cloth and come here outside to tell you. Now imagine such situation. Then the Swamiji was so much taken aback. Oh, what kind of poverty people are having here. They have to move around the forest for seeing any fruit or vegetable or anything is available, or some animal is available. So in that they don't have clothes to wear. All move about. Most of the men are moving about without clothes. They'll put ash to the body and start living there. So then the Swami gave all the clothes he had and started walking on his Kaupina next day morning. So this is what you experience when you go, how your heart melts somewhere, how your heart gets elated when somebody loves and pours love upon you. Unknown person you are. And they confide in you so much, they will take you inside and make you sleep on their bed. So all these rare experiences which you will not have, you will have. Your heart expands, your heart melts. You will become a human and a divine without your knowledge if you go on. What happened to Swami Vivekananda when he went on Parivraja? how he had to run to the Kanyakumari and sit on that rock and meditate on the past and future of India. Poverty stricken India, ignorance, superstitions, all this bothered him. Similarly, the honor that he received from the kings, the glory of the past, everything, like that will be your state when you go for pilgrimage. All right? We'll close. Om. हे प्रार्थना जगदीश से यह स्वर्ग सम संसार हो, अति उच्चतम जीवन बने परमार्थमय व्यवहार हो, ना हम रहे अपने लिए, हमको सभी से गर्ज है। देव ये आशीष दो जो सोचने का फर्ज है, हम हो पुजारी तत्व के, गुरुदेव के आदेश के, सच प्रेम के नित नेम के, सद्धर्म के सत्कर्म के, ओ चीड़ झूठी राह की, अन्याय की अभिमान की, सेवा करन में दास की, परवाह नहीं हो जान की, छोटे न हो हम बुद्धि से, हो विश्वमय से ईशमय, ओ राममय और कृष्णमय, जगदेवमय जगदीशमय, हर इंद्रियों पर ताब कर, हम वीर हो अति वीर हो, उज्ज्वल रहे सर से सदा, निज धर्म रथ खंबीर हो, अति शुद्ध हो आचार से, तन मन हमारा सर्वदा, अध्यात्म की शक्ति हमें पल भी नहीं कर दे जुदा, इस अमर आत्मा का हमें हर श्वास भर में गत रहे, घर मौत भी तो आ गई, सुख दुख हमसे सम रहे, घर मौत भी तो आ गई, सुख दुख हमसे सम रहे, सुख दुख हमसे सम रहे।